Krishna 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 Hare Krishna 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 Krishna. Welcome everyone to our ongoing sessions on Pariprashnena Sevaya. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Om Shri Sarabhyai Namaha. Om Shri Sarabhyai Namaha. Om Shri Sarabhyai Namaha. Om Shri Sarabhyai Namaha. Mukham karoti vachalam pangum langayate girim. Yat kripa tamaham bande Sri Gurum Dinataranam. Yat kripa tamaham bande Sri Gurum Dinataranam. Hare Krishna. Hare Krishna. We will now take a few minutes to read from our main book of reference, the book entitled Speaking About Varnashrama. I have mentioned this before. Every single temple, actually every family, at least every temple, if not every family, should have a copy of this particular book because it is 100% a compilation of Srila Prabhupada's very important instructions, very, I would say, revealing instructions on the subject matter of Varnashrama Dharma. And this evening, the chapter that we are reading from is chapter number 8, which just happens to be entitled Varnashram College. Yeah. Because in the last 1 week or so, a number of devotees have been discussing quite extensively on the subject matter of Varnashrama College. So this is taken from a morning walk in Vrindavan on March the 14th, 1974. Some of the themes covered in this section. Number one, Varnashrama College for the public in general, not only for devotees, it's for everyone. Second, Brahmanas should become expert in every kind of knowledge. Very interesting how Srila Prabhupada explains that Brahmana means one who can actually pick up any knowledge and be able to teach that knowledge. That is the unique quality of someone who is actually Brahmana. Because Brahmanas are the ones who are teaching. So they must, not that one Brahmana knows everything, but different Brahmanas will pick up different sciences, different kinds of knowledge, both spiritual as well as material knowledge, and teach to the general people, and especially to those who are taking up formal education in the Gurukul system. Another theme in this chapter, Vaishya training. What is Vaishya training? Cow protection, how to grow food. These two things. And then, business means selling surplus grain. Business does not mean, as Prabhupada would refer to today's modern business as rascal business, making all kinds of products that are not essential or necessary in society and selling simply for the purpose of profit. That is not business as we understand in the Vedic context and the Vedic sense. Then, no tuition for the Varnashram college. No tuition. In Vedic culture, education is free. And also, teachers are not salaried. And then two more themes. Vaishya students to grow food for the Brahmanas. And the last, Varna first, then Ashram. Prabhupada often made this statement. First is Varna. First, one needs to determine the Varna of a young boy. Not the Varna of a young girl, the Varna of a young boy. And the Varna of a young boy will determine whether he should take up formal education or non-formal education, and according to that type of education, he will take up some particular occupation or profession. So let's hear a little bit the exchange that Srila Prabhupada is having here in Vrindavan on March the 14th, 1974. Prabhupada begins technical knowledge. There was some previous discussion. Technical knowledge. Similarly, this is another college, Varnashrama college. Someone was mentioning about technical knowledge. Then Satsvarup, for the public in general, Prabhupada answers, yes, anyone. Just like engineering, college is open for anyone. He must be ready to take up the training. Similarly, this Varnashrama college, he must be ready, the student must be ready to take up the training. Hridayananda. Would it be for a particular age group? Prabhupada answers, yes, any education from childhood. Education means from childhood. Komara acharata pragyog dharman bhagavatan iha. One who is sufficiently intelligent should use his human form of body from the very beginning of life. In other words, from the tender age of childhood to practice the activities of devotional service. We are getting so many sannyasis, they should teach. Teaching should be done by the sannyasis. Just like in missionary school, the fathers teach. Then Hridayananda, to get more clarity, asks, how would it be different than Gurukula? Then Prabhupada answers, Gurukula is only for the small children, primary. And when the children are grown up, they should be sent to the Varnashram college, to the Varnashram school or college for further developed training. Hridayananda, they should be taught also, should there be teaching in some particular skill or Varna? Prabhupada said, no. Say for example, Hridayananda continues, say for example someone was a Kshatriya by inclination. Prabhupada answers, no. Inclination can be changed also. If one has got little, we should take advantage. We should take little advantage of the inclination. That is to be decided. That is not very difficult. Because people have been spoiled all over the world by being misguided by the so-called leaders, therefore Varnashram college is required. But Prabhupada, Hridayananda, further asking, I'm still not quite clear. In other words, we teach, for example, like Bhagavad Gita and Srimad Bhagavatam. Prabhupada, yes. Another question, how much would be expected of the students? Would they live with us or follow the four principles like that, or just come for classes? Prabhupada answers, yes, come to class you won't get, because nobody has got any taste for such thing. A boarding school, boarding college. Another question, should there be any material subject matters taught like in Gurukula? Prabhupada answers, yes, just like material subject matter, Kshatriya, or the Brahmanas, Kshatriyas, as they are described in the Bhagavad Gita. The Kshatriyas should be taught how to fight also. there will be military training. They will be trained how to kill. Oh, yes, and the Vaishyas should be trained how to give protection to the cows, how to till the fields and grow food, practical. Another devotee asked, not business also? The Vaishyas? Proper answer is business. This rascal business. No, not modern business. Not business as we know. Then Prabhupada further clarifies, business means if we have got extra grain, or extra foodstuff, you can sell where there is necessity. There want. That is business. We're not going to open mills and factories. No, we're not going to do that. That is Shudra business. The real business is that you produce enough food, grains, as much as possible, and you eat and distribute. That's all. That is business. He does not require any so high technical education. Anyone can till the ground and grow food. Is it difficult? This is the business. And the last paragraph in this exchange, actually it continues, but in this particular response by Srila Prabhupada, the first thing is that everyone, man and animal, especially the cows, they must be properly fed to become very stout and strong. Cows will supply milk and man will work hard. See the Prabhupada's statement here. And man will work hard. In the Bhagavatam, Srila Prabhupada also explains how the residents of Vrindavan, they were working hard. They were sweating by working hard. The ladies, when they were churning the butter, when they were doing house duties, they were working hard. The men were also working hard. He must work hard, any capacity, work as a teacher or work as a kshatriya, work as a plowman, or work as general assistant. He must work. Everyone should be employed, and his employment will be provided from any of these groups according to his capacity, either as a brahmana, kshatriya, vaishya, or shudra. And just skipping a little bit ahead here, at one point, Satsvarup Maharaj is asking, Srila Prabhupada, is this school for women also, or just for men? Prabhupada, for men. Women should automatically learn how to cook, how to cleanse home. Satsvarup. So they don't attend Varnashram college? Prabhupada, no. Varnashram college especially meant for the Brahmana, Kshatriya, and Vaishya. Those who are not fit for education, they are Shudras. That's all. Or those who are reluctant to take education, they should assist the higher class. And like this, the topic about whether Sanskrit is absolutely necessary, Srila Prabhupada explains it is not absolutely necessary. If one can learn Sanskrit, that is good. However, what is most important and necessary is to learn the philosophy, to be nicely engaged in devotional activities. So this ends our reading from speaking about Varnasrama, and now going directly to some questions. This is question number 34, sent by Radhaduti Devidasi from Pune. Thank you very much for tolerating and answering my questions. Are spiritual dreams significant? Dreams. If one dreams of Srila Prabhupada or the spiritual master, giving them small instructions or just giving darshan, does that signify something? Or is it just the manifestation of the subconscious mind? Good question. Srila Prabhupada revealed how when he was still in India, as a vanaprastha, he had left home and was totally absorbed in trying to fulfill the mission of his spiritual master, Srila Bhaktisiddhanta Saraswati Thakur, that his spiritual master came to him in dream, I believe twice, urging him, requesting him to actually take to the renounced order of life. So dreams, spiritual dreams, are a reality. It is a great fortune to have such spiritual dreams, to dream of Srila Prabhupada. Some devotees, I've heard some devotees have had many dreams of Srila Prabhupada. Others have less, or others have none, or dreams of the spiritual master. We can judge, as we judge all things, if it is in line with Guru, Sadhu and Shastra. If one is nicely practicing Krishna consciousness, then there are very good chances that such kind of mercy will fall upon such a devotee. Of course, in our troubled world today, where the vast majority of people, of course, are not practicing Krishna consciousness, and sometimes we do hear some people claiming that they have some kind of revelation or spiritual experience. So very often it will, because of their lifestyle, it will be not a bona fide kind of experience, and it may be in all likelihood due to subconsciousness, as mentioned here. The whole idea is that the more we practice as devotees, the more we become strong in our sadhana. Unknowingly or inconceivably, the purification actually takes place. And Srila Prabhupada explains that when one is at that higher level of purification, then one will be able to remember Krishna 24 hours a day. That means during one's wake period and during one's unconscious or sleeping period. So it's a question of purification, and Krishna, to encourage his devotees, will sometimes reveal himself or allow devotees to have some kind of experience. And of course, many such experiences are naturally very personal and intimate, in that we don't go around divulging to everyone. If it does happen for devotees who are nicely engaged in devotional service, then we can take that as a special mercy of Krishna to encourage us to further advance in our practice of spiritual life. So we will go to our next question here, which is question number 35 from Bhuvaneshwar, from a devotee called or named Dasu Bishwanath. After listening to your lecture and reading some of your books like Village Life, Modernity is Killing Civilization, Save Cows, Save Villages, Save Culture, etc., I am convinced that Varnasrama mission of Srila Prabhupada, which has been neglected for decades, needs urgent attention to work upon by devotees for establishing stable society within devotee community as well as outside the community. As a householder currently working in a software company, which is the case for many of our devotees, So the question is, how best can I serve this mission to please you and Srila Prabhupada? Please, can you explain short-term and long-term approach to dedicate my life for this mission? That is very nice that Krishna is kind upon you to realize the urgent need and great importance of this aspect of Srila Prabhupada's mission, establishing Varnashrama, establishing communities based on the principles of Varna and Ashrama. Your situation is very similar to many, the vast majority actually of our devotees who are still in cities, caught up with a software kind of occupation. So, regardless of one's situation, by continuing to read, to hear, and to discuss such subject matters, such topics, one's understanding will become more clear, one's conviction as well, and Krishna will gradually reveal how this can be taken up, what steps you may need to take. So I would say this is the beginning and short term, associating with individuals, with devotees who are like-minded, who have some understanding and some attraction to this aspect of Srila Prabhupada's mission, and preparing yourself by learning certain skills, learning about village life, and this means possibly visiting some communities, spending some weekend, or possibly longer if you have vacations, and continuing to read and to hear lectures, especially from His Divine Grace, Srila Prabhupada. When discussing in this way with devotees who are expressing similar interests, then you can together as a group, as a small group, begin to formulate some plan how you could gradually make such kind of transition. We spoke about that. It's come up at different times because it's a common question. I'm here now, I would like to be in another kind of situation, more in line with what our Vedic culture is teaching us, more in line with what was expressed by Srila Prabhupada. So devotees can help, for example, establish a Varnashram college, because as we read just a few days ago, and of course even today, the title of this section is Varnashrama College. So Prabhupada was telling, not that we should establish a Varnashram college in our temples, but that our temples should be Varnashram colleges. Our temples should be educational institutions geared at understanding this very fundamental dimension of our Vedic culture. Prabhupada, when he speaks, very often you'll find in his books about Sanatan Dharma, Prabhupada would say, and our religion actually is Sanatan Dharma. And Sanatan Dharma means Varnashrama Dharma, Daiva Varnashrama. And Prabhupada translates Daiva Varnashrama as divine culture. This is the divine culture where all activities are performed for the pleasure of Krishna. So, interacting, being in contact with devotees, we will soon be introducing courses related to Varnashram online. Devotees can be on the lookout for such information coming up actually very soon. And there are different ways, either as a student or as a teacher. We're looking for both right now, for students and teachers, to learn about different aspects of the Varnashrama culture. So I'm very pleased to see that by reading books that explain more in detail these concepts and principles of Varnashrama, that you are becoming more and more convinced. Simply associate with devotees. We have our ministry here in India, where we have various literatures, various activities, seminars taking place at different times, and in this way you can be more acquainted with what is taking place, and you can prepare yourself along with other devotees whom you may know in your area to begin now in different ways to be more acquainted with the whole concept, and to gradually prepare yourself to make this kind of transition. Okay. Of course, just to close on this point, our mission of life is to become Krishna conscious. Some of us may not be able to relocate in a village or in a rural community for whatever different reasons. That doesn't mean that our life cannot be successful, because the primary goal and objective is to develop our attraction and our loving propensity for Krishna. So that can be done anywhere. However, the Vedic culture does prescribe an environment that will be more conducive for awakening, so to speak, this mood and this mentality, this serving attitude when we are surrounded by devotees, and when we are in a more peaceful and sattvic atmosphere. Let us go to our next question. This is from Hyderabad, Induleka Devidasi. This is question number 36. Hare Krishna, Guru Maharaj, please accept my humble obeisances. Lord Krishna with cows as cowherd boy, Lord Balaram with plow, related to agriculture. Krishna and Balaram show the interlink between land and cows. What would be Srimati Radharani's role, or what she is teaching to humans? Is it the lost relationship with the Lord? Yes. You are answering your own question. So, Krishna and Balaram, this is their day Leela, their day activity. Daily, Krishna and Balaram, from morning, they go with their hundreds of friends, cowherd boys, along with the cows, to different forests of Vrindavan. That is their day Leela. But Krishna has his evening Leela, and this evening Leela, which goes till the next morning, actually, is in relationship with the gopis of Vrindavan, and especially the foremost of all the gopis of Vrindavan, Srimati Radharani. So we know how Srimati Radharani, she is always thinking about Krishna, always remembering Krishna, always planning different ways in which to serve Krishna, and the gopis are there to assist in that whole endeavor as well. And sometimes there are pastimes even during the day between Krishna and some of the gopis, as narrated in some of our Vaishnava literatures, because the gopis during the day, when the cowherd boys are out with the cows pasturing, some of the gopis, sometimes with Srimati Radharani as well, they're taking their different milk products and they're going to sell them or to exchange them, to distribute them. And there are different leelas or pastimes that are taking place. And that is very much in relationship with developing our awakening, our forgotten relationship with Krishna. So the whole mood and the whole purpose of Vrindavan, of all of the pastimes, is meant to be centered, is focused on how to remember Krishna, how to gain the good association of Krishna, and in this way, this is the constant meditation of the residents of Vrindavan. So therefore, we as devotees, when we talk about the need and the importance to live in this kind of natural environment of village life, where we are also connected intimately with the same activities that are eternally going on in Vrindavan, connected with the cows, connected with the land. So the purpose is also the same. The purpose is to, as Prabhupada would say, when we simplify our lifestyle, when we are no longer so much forced or obsessed by material matters or material situations, when we learn to be satisfied with the basic needs or necessities of life, then we more easily will be able to find more time to think about Krishna, to speak about Krishna, to hear about Krishna, and in this way to gradually awaken more and more our attraction to Krishna, our attachment to Krishna. And that is what our Shastra explain, Ante Narayana Smriti. If at the end of one's life, especially, one can remember Krishna, which will be determined by our activities throughout the life, then we will be able to go back to Krishna. So that is the primary role of Srimati Radharani. One additional question here. This is coming from Kinchana Krishna. Prabhu? Okay. It is seen usually in our ISKCON society that only one of the four varnas, Brahmana, is widely visible and more prominent. However, devotees are also engaged in activities of the other varnas, knowingly or unknowingly. So here comes the question. Does this emphasis on one varna, or rather lack of practical implementation of the other three, cause hindrance to, in general, a devotee's devotional life, as they may be unknowingly endeavoring or practicing for a varna which they may not be qualified or suitable for? Okay. Let me try to summarize the question here. Does the emphasis on one varna mean that possibly unknowingly one is practicing something that he may not be qualified for? So it is true that within our ISKCON society, so far, the only varna for which one is officially designated is a Brahmana varna. We have not yet established a system to identify and anoint someone as a Kshatriya. That day will come. We're not ready for that. We also have not yet come to the point of selecting someone to be recognized as a bona fide Vaishya. That day will also come. That day has to come. It is not that the other varnas are not existing within our ISKCON society, because in every temple someone is managing. So there are people who are taking up the Kshatriya varna to some extent, because they are performing activities that are meant to be performed by Kshatriya. And the Vaishya dimension is also taken up, and possibly in a slightly different way in our city temples, in that Vaishya, as we read a little earlier, Vaishya means three things. Vaishya means producing food. In our cities, very few of our temple devotees produce food, practically none. Second activity for Vaishya is to care for cows, and in our cities, practically no devotee looks after cows. In some of our city temples in India, like in Baroda, for example, ISKCON Baroda, and ISKCON in Surat, I believe, Ahmedabad, they have their own community, or they have their own land, actually, outside of Ahmedabad. But there are some city temples that have cows, but very few devotees are engaged in those activities. That's the second. Agriculture, cow care, or cow protection. Third is, we were reading, trade or business, but Prabhupada clarified. Trade means if we have excess of grains, if we have excess of milk or milk products, which is not the case in the city. But there are devotees who are collecting, who are responsible to help maintain the temple, which is also important. I mean, Srila Prabhupada himself started the life membership program to engage individuals, those who were favorable to the Krishna consciousness movement, so that they could support financially. So there are devotees who are, especially in India, dedicated for maintaining financially. So we could say this is a Vaishya type of activity. However, it is we see much less what is the traditional understanding of a Kshatriya. And a Kshatriya means actually someone who has land. Someone who has land, property, and under whom people are engaged in different ways. And Vaishya also means someone who is having land for the purpose of producing food and for the purpose of grazing the cows, caring for the cows, protecting the cows. So we could say that not having this whole dimension that Prabhupada spoke about and that Srila Prabhupada wanted, that whole dimension of natural, simple, rural communities where devotees can evolve and take up different occupations according to their nature, not having that dimension developed, then this definitely does produce some level or amount of imbalance. And it is not so ideal remaining or continuing to live in what Srila Prabhupada termed as a very artificial environment of modern day city life. Majority of our devotees, as we all know very well, are caught up in non-traditional occupations. And so, yes, that is an additional reason why it is important to develop. It's not just a question of developing farm communities. Farm communities, we should understand, are meant to be a stepping stone towards establishing full-fledged villages, because villages are the norm. Villages are the norm in the Vedic culture. And our Shastra, our Acharyas, give us detailed information as to how a village is meant to be set up and organized, what are the different activities, etc., like that. The more we will be able to develop, and that remains a very major challenge for all of us, but the more quickly we can develop this whole dimension, this will bring immense relief to many of our devotees who are in the cities and caught up in unnatural occupations, definitely. So that's an additional reason why we invite devotees to actually be more involved with these activities so that there can be a more clear understanding and more individuals can actually be involved to help make this kind of needed transition happen. And once again, these courses that we will soon be launching, online courses on Varnashrama, especially since so many of our devotees, not only here in India but all over the world, due to shutdown, are forced to be at home, so they have more time, and therefore we make this humble plea and request to very soon or even right now, start reading up on this subject matter, and within a week's time, this is how short we are projecting, within a week's time we will have more clear information that we will be sharing with devotees through different media, how you can be involved. The whole idea of online courses is not simply to remain on this level of what they call long-distance education. Our goal is to actually prepare as many individuals, to give the opportunity to as many individuals as possible to actually make this kind of transition by learning various skills, by becoming more clear and more convinced about this more simple and natural lifestyle, which is the Vedic norm, agrarian lifestyle, cow-based culture, cow-based economy. We read about these things, but we don't actually know or understand. So this whole upcoming effort that will involve devotees from different countries as well is to facilitate devotees primarily in our cities who have this kind of concern and who would like to know more about how we can actually realize this request as given by our founder Acharya, so that more easily all of us can advance in Krishna consciousness. So before we close this evening, once again, thank you very much to Rasamandal Prabhu, who's continuing to send these questions. Thank you, those who are taking the time to formulate these questions and sending them in. We hope to continue these sessions by Krishna's mercy. And as we mentioned at the beginning of our session, within approximately half an hour or so, specifically at 9 o'clock, we invite devotees to light a lamp, preferably a ghee lamp. If you don't have ghee, and most devotees don't have ghee, most people don't have ghee, sesame oil will do, ideally. If not, somehow try to find something that will also be useful. Main thing is to be chanting the holy names. It's a wonderful opportunity for devotees all over India, and especially because it's a kind of an Indian thing, so to speak. All of us together, it will be very much joining this mood and this spirit, both of the Japathon and also the Harinam Sankirtan. So by these prayers, we can purify our surrounding and please Lord Krishna. We also request devotees to continue being cautious during these difficult times of this global epidemic, which is still very much ongoing. So let us together remain strong and firm, determined in our practice of Krishna consciousness. Let us be ideal follow the good instructions given by our immediate authorities and by government authorities wherever we may be in whatever country, and take this opportunity to bring this understanding of Krishna consciousness to as many people as possible. Let us all together repeat the Hare Krishna Mahamantra, and in this way close our session today. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Jai Srila Prabhupada ki, Jai Samasta Gaur Bhakta Vrinda ki, Gaura Pimanande, Hare Krishna.
His Holiness Bhakti Raghava Swami Maharaj ki.